Young man, they're trying to erase you, but guess what? You can't be erased because God made you. You're made in the image of God. You are his original leader. You are the one that he put on this earth for such a time as this. You can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. You are blessed. You are bold. You are a leader.
Hey young man, I believe in you. Hey young man, there's nothing you can't do. Hey young man, I believe in you. Hey young man, I'm here to tell you the truth. Hey young man, I believe in you. Hey young man, there's nothing you can't do. Hey young man, I believe in you. Hey young man, I'm here to tell you the truth. Hey young man.
We are here at the Father to Son Crucial Conversation 2019. So how do you feel that this program is serving the community?
We are giving our boys, our men and our young men, something to be proud of, something to be involved in, something to be engaged in. Celebrate manhood, celebrate fatherhood.
So since being this is a male thing right now, especially with Father's Day coming up, how do you feel? Do you feel that there's a place for women in this program?
Yes, BUBBA stands for Brothers United, Building Brothers Alliance. We are on the background. We're not on the front lines, but we are here as a support. And because that is also something that's missing, men need support from the women. And that is where we come in, our roles on our leadership team. We do have women that are heavily involved in our organization, but we do put this as something for the men. You see, we try to stay in the background as much as possible and let the men do their thing, let the boys do their thing, because it changes the dynamic. When a woman is in the room, it changes the dynamic.
Okay, so do you see in the future having something like for mothers and daughters?
We're actually looking to start a BUBBA Moms group. Our BUBBA Moms group is really going to be a support system for those moms who have these young men at their homes, so they can find different ways to get them involved.
All right, so welcome to a new video. Every Thursday, the goal is to release new videos just for you, young man. I hope they encourage you and inspire you higher. So the video that I showed you is a young woman who is a part of a nonprofit named BUBBA, and this woman who has her own company. She's interviewing this lady about the nonprofit, and this nonprofit is for young men and boys, to mentor them, to tutor them, to help them in their life's journey. It's strictly for boys. The reason why I wanted to talk about this is because the interviewer was asking questions about including girls and women in the nonprofit. And I want you to recognize how the woman that was being interviewed responded very well. She responded very, very well. And her response was basically, we are looking forward to doing something with mothers of young men who do not have fathers or male mentors in their lives. But this program is strictly for men and boys. We want to encourage, we want to influence and impact and motivate young men, boys only. And as you can see, the interviewer, she asked at least two questions. Do you think women and girls have a part? Would you all be able to do something for young girls and young women? And it's so funny because my husband is the one that actually pointed this video out to me. I did a podcast episode, and the episode was called You Can't Be Erased. And if you listen to that podcast, it's available anywhere podcasts are available. Hey, young man. I was talking about how there are so many things in society that want to erase men from the equation, period. Okay, and this was a prime example. This woman asked questions about how can we get young girls and young women involved? Will you do something for young girls and young women? And I was just like, you know what? Anytime there is a female empowerment nonprofit organization, there's a movement for young girls or women or anything like that, I never hear them ask those questions. It's rare that you will hear anyone ask an organization that caters to young women or women in general, hey, are you going to do something for men? Are you going to do something for boys? That question is never asked. It's never asked because it's recognized as female-only spaces. This is what we're doing for girls and women, and that's fine. But when it comes to male spaces, asking why aren't girls involved? Can girls get involved? We should push girls more. Are you going to do something for girls? But it's never the other way around. You are never seeing anyone who is having a movement for girls ask, are you going to do something for boys? Are you going to do something for men? Boys, men in the West are forgotten, and they don't want spaces for men. That's why they try to invade and tear down any space that is specifically for men. This question, the questions that this interviewer was asking is prime example of it. And the funny part was the way that the woman explained her role and what the women in the organization's role was. I know that a lot of F words would be very offended because she said, this is a male only space and the women that are involved, we play the background. We're here to support. We're here to encourage and move forward, the vision, but we are really in the background because we don't want to take away what it is that this organization or what this movement stands for. This is for boys, and we do not want to interject in that unless we are being asked to interject. We don't want to interject. This is for boys, so we play a background. And I know F words were really I know if they would see this video, they would be upset. Oh, why do women always got to play the background? Why do women got to be in the back? Blah, 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 blah. Now, I am a Christian, and so I do believe in traditional gender roles. I do believe that women are made to support and help the vision of men, especially in marriage, but in general. I do think that men are made to be leaders, and I believe that women are to help encourage, help push forward the vision that a man has. That's what I believe. And that's biblical. And clearly that's what this woman believes too. But it's just unfortunate that anytime men have something that's a space for them, women want to, it's like they have to feel like they have to interject. There's one thing to support. There's one thing to inspire. There's one thing to encourage, which is what women are. We are to nurture. We're to inspire. We're to encourage men. But to try to take over and make it about, well, let's get a section for girls. Listen, there are more nonprofits and more organizations for young girls and young women than there are boys. This is facts. This is true. And Dr. Warren Farrell, he talks about this in his book, The Boy Crisis. There are way more programs, organizations, domestic violence programs, shelters, everything for women and girls, way more than there are for men. So when men have an opportunity to have their voice be heard, women should not want to, barge in and take over. It's one thing to want to support a movement as a woman and want to help push the movement forward. And if you are asked by the men of that movement to come forward, that's one thing. That's one thing to offer your support. But then to say, I'm going to take this over and I'm going to bring along all these women with me. And then there's another space that's not for men. It's not right. This is what's happening in society. Anything is a threat. Anything that is male only dominated is a threat to women, modern women today. A lot of women of today, I'm not going to say every woman, but a lot of women of today. It's a threat because they've been spoon fed and fed the lies of F. Okay. They have been fed the lies of F. And because of that, they feel like I have to, as a woman, if a woman is not involved in it, if a woman is not in it, it's not right. It's not correct. And then they try to force feed that on other women who, like this one woman, just said, I want to play the background. I want to support. I want to encourage. I want to be in the back. And if I'm needed out in the front, I'll be needed. But that's it. But then some women feel a problem with that. They can't accept being in the background and not having the spotlight. And it's unfortunate. My husband brought something else to my attention, the Boy Scouts. And I know Dr. Warren Farrell talked about this in his book, The Boy Crisis, as well, how important it is for men and boys to get involved in mentorship programs for boys and men and to get involved in programs. And the Boy Scout was one of the things that he recommended. Unfortunately, the Boy Scout is now called the Scouts. The Boy Scouts have a Girl Scouts division and there's a Boy Scout division. But because of hoopla from political activists, now the Boy Scouts are no longer called the Boy Scouts. They are only called the Scouts. But yet the Girl Scouts are still called the Girl Scouts, and there is no opportunity for boys to get into the Girl Scouts. See, the Girl Scouts have kept their space. They're still called the Girl Scout, and there is no opportunity for boys, biological boys, to get into the Girl Scouts. But as far as the Boy Scouts, they are no longer called the Boy Scouts, and they are just called the Scouts. And they changed that word because political activists felt like it's not right for you guys to be called Boy Scouts only, something only, a space only for boys. This program has been around for a long, long time, years, decades. But they felt like, the activists of today felt like you shouldn't be called the Boy Scouts because it discourages girls from joining. What if girls want to join? But guess what? Girls could join. They have the Girl Scouts. But now the Boy Scouts are just called the boys, or just called the Scouts. Anything boy, male, manhood, man, male, anything with that title is just driven away in society. And there are more examples of this. And honestly, pretty soon, I was talking about this as well to my husband. Pretty soon, a lot of women only spaces are already being threatened now by the alphabet community. So now even a lot of biological female spaces are being threatened. And a lot of women are seeing how they don't like that. A lot of women are seeing how they don't like their spaces being taken over. They don't like that. So now you know how men feel when every time it's a male's space, women have to feel like they have to be involved in that. Again, there's nothing wrong. I believe in supporting men. I believe in encouraging men, uplifting men. This is what this is what I am doing. This is not for me to get any clout. This ministry that I have was a vision in 2018 that I had, that God gave me. This is not for me to get clout. This is not for me to usurp men in their authority. I have a covering. I have a husband. I have a pastor. My husband knows what I'm doing. Okay? And he supports me. So I have a covering. Okay? I believe in that wholeheartedly. I don't believe women should be invading male spaces, especially if they weren't asked to come to the front by men to do it. So I believe we can encourage. This is what my ministry is. It's here to encourage young men, not to take over, not to be the source or the person that young men just look to. No, I believe men should be mentored by men. I believe men should be looking for help for other men. And I believe women, our role is to encourage and support you. So I believe that's what I'm doing. I want to encourage and support young men who may not have mothers or women around them that are doing that. Because it's important that a male is still experiencing a healthy relationship with women. And if I can be that, then that's what I want to be. But I don't believe in having authority over men as a woman. I just don't. I don't believe that's God's plan. And so it's unfortunate that the Boy Scouts are taken away. And there are other examples too. But then in this interview, this woman is asking about girls and women, a space for them in this program. And it's like, you would never ask that question to a female space, a female only space. You would never ask, oh, well, are you going to do something for boys? It's just a given. That's a female space and that's it. And if a man wants to do something, he's going to have to make his own space. That's a given. So I just wanted to bring that to you. Society is doing their best to erase you, young man. And listen to my podcast, available anywhere podcasts are available, for more. Because I talk about this in the episode, You Can't Be Erased, how there are even science studies, research, all this stuff that has been done to lower testosterone levels, sperm count levels. All of this stuff, I believe, is a plan of the enemy to just completely destroy men off the face of the earth. Because when you don't have men in their position, then perversion can come through. The way our world and our culture is the way it is because men have been out of position for a very long time. Some self-inflicted and some because society. I think it's time that men have to come back and stand up and take their positions as the leaders. And I also think women, our job is to encourage our men and support our men to do that and not bring them down. So listen, young man, there's nothing you can't do. It's not impossible as long as you have God by your side. He made you for a purpose and he made you for more. You cannot be erased no matter what they're trying to do. You cannot be erased. I want to encourage you and remind you of that. God bless you. Jesus loves you and so do I.